My wife invited her lover in my house, but it turned into a brutal revenge. Reddit cheating stories. The night I caught my wife betraying me wasn't supposed to be anything extraordinary. I had just wrapped up a late meeting at work, exhausted but relieved, thinking I'd come home to my wife, Claire, and unwind with dinner. But as I parked outside my house, something in the pit of my stomach told me I wasn't ready for what I was about to see. Through the window, the glow of the living room lights painted an oddly cheerful picture. My wife hated wasting electricity, yet the house looked alive, as though it was hosting a celebration. I reached for my keys, but then I froze when I heard laughter echoing faintly through the front door. It wasn't just Claire's laugh. There was a man's voice too, low and familiar in tone, too comfortable in a place that wasn't his. I leaned against the wall, heart racing, and the reality sank in. She hadn't just cheated on me, she had invited him into my house. Into the very home I had built brick by brick, sacrifice by sacrifice, for us. I didn't storm in immediately. No, my mind raced through every moment of the last year, her sudden late night, work calls, the secretive smiles, her dismissive attitude whenever I tried to hold her. All the puzzle pieces clicked, but the picture they formed shattered something deep inside me. My first instinct was rage, but another thought stopped me. If she could humiliate me in my own home, then my revenge would also be written right there, inside these walls. I quietly slipped back into my car, drove around the block, and parked out of sight. My plan was taking shape. I texted Claire, pretending I was still at work, and asked her what she wanted for dinner. She replied with her usual coldness, telling me she'd already eaten. My jaw tightened, but I kept my cool. For the next week, I played the role of the clueless husband, but behind the scenes, I was preparing. I had access to cameras, hidden recording devices, things Claire never knew about because I worked in security systems. If she was going to dishonor me in my own house, then every betrayal would be captured, every stolen kiss, every lie whispered in the dark. And it didn't take long. Within days, I had hours of footage of her and her lover. His name was Eric, one of her coworkers. They kissed in my living room, cooked in my kitchen, even slept in my bed when they thought I was away. Watching it was like being stabbed 1,000 times, but I forced myself to endure it. Pain was temporary. Revenge would be permanent. The night I struck back was perfectly orchestrated. Claire had invited Eric over again. This time, I made sure to arrive home early, but not through the front door. I entered quietly through the back, cameras rolling, my heart pounding with adrenaline. When I walked into the living room, they froze. Eric's smug smile disappeared, and Claire's face drained of color. She stammered, "I can explain." But I cut her off, my voice steady, cold, sharper than any blade. "No need. I already know. And so does everyone else." I pulled out my phone and streamed the footage on the TV screen. Every moment of their affair, every betrayal, filled the room with deafening silence. Claire collapsed onto the couch, sobbing, while Eric muttered curses under his breath, trying to come up with excuses. Then came the brutal twist they never saw coming. Earlier that day, I had invited a few very important people over under the guise of a family dinner: my parents, her parents, and even a couple of close friends. Right on cue, the doorbell rang. And as they walked in, they were greeted not by a warm dinner but by the truth, playing across the big screen. Her mother gasped. My father shook his head in disgust. The shame that washed over Claire was more brutal than any words I could have spoken. She screamed at me to turn it off, but I didn't. I wanted her betrayal exposed, naked, undeniable. Eric tried to leave, but I stopped him at the door. "You step foot into my home again, and I'll make sure HR at your company gets this footage too. I know your wife would love to see it as well." His face turned pale, and he left without another word. Claire broke down, begging, pleading, crawling at my feet. But the years of love I had once felt for her had burned into ashes. I told her, in front of everyone, "This house is mine. This life I built was mine. You decided to destroy it. From now on, you get nothing. No love, no respect, no future here." The divorce was brutal, on her. The evidence I had was airtight, and the court sided with me on everything. She lost the house, lost friends, and worst of all, lost the respect of her family. Eric didn't stick around either. Once the affair was exposed, he vanished from her life, leaving her with nothing but regret. Dash dash dash. As for me, I didn't just walk away broken. I walked away stronger. Yes, betrayal hurts, it tears you apart in ways words can't fully capture. But sometimes, the pain becomes fuel, and that fuel builds something new. I rebuilt my life, focused on myself, reconnected with people who truly cared about me. The nights were lonely at first, but they weren't filled with lies anymore. They were filled with peace. And if there's one message I want anyone listening to take from my story, it's this: betrayal doesn't define you. How you rise from it does. Sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't just exposing the truth, it's walking away, free, while the people who wronged you drown in the mess they created. Because in the end, I didn't just lose a wife, I lost a betrayer. And that's not a loss at all, it's freedom.